In this video, I'm gonna compare the Lumix G9 and Lumix S5 high-res modes. Hi guys, my name is Matti Sulanto. I'm a photographer and a Lumix ambassador from Helsinki, Finland. And in this video, I'm gonna compare the Lumix G9 and the Lumix S5 high-res modes. But before I go any further, please consider to subscribe to my channel and also tap the bell right there so you'll get a notification every time I post a new video. The Lumix G9, as you probably know, is the current Micro Four Thirds flagship camera in the Lumix lineup, and the S5 is the latest full-frame camera in the Lumix lineup. But both of these cameras have very similar pixel count, even though the sensors are not the same. The Lumix G9 has 20 megapixel sensor and the S5 has 24 megapixel sensor. And both cameras also have Panasonic's high-res mode, which combines 8 exposures into one frame and creates a higher resolution file. And on the G9, the high-res file is 80.5 megapixels. And on the S5 it's 96 megapixels. So I wanted to see if there's any significant real-life difference between these two cameras shot on high-res mode. And I have both JPEG and RAW samples for you guys. And here's my test setups. On the G9 I had the Panasonic Leica 12 to 60mm lens, and on the S5 I had the Lumix S 24 to 105 lens. And the reason I chose these lenses, these zoom lenses, is that I thought it would be so much easier to match the angle of view if I have zoom lenses. And I'm fully aware that even though these zooms are very good zooms, they are probably not as sharp as the best primes. But I don't have the best primes for both cameras. Best primes that would have the same image, same angle of view. So I decided to go with these zoom lenses, and in my opinion these lenses are very comparable when it comes to image quality, so I don't think neither camera got any major benefit from the lens. So let's now check out the JPEG results that I got, and these are straight out of camera JPEGs. And here I have both test pictures side by side. On the left is the picture from the G9 shot at 25mm f/4.5, and on the right the picture from the S5 shot at 46mm at 5.6. And both cameras are at their base ISO, which on the G9 is 200 and on the S5 it's 100. Let's now zoom in 100% and see if there is any major difference between these two files. When I look at these pictures, I see that the S5 picture has slightly more detail and it looks slightly sharper than the G9 picture. But the difference is not big, and it's probably mainly because the S5 has 16 more megapixels. But it could also be that the sensor is slightly better and maybe the lens is slightly better, I don't know. But nonetheless, the difference is not massive, and you would have to print huge or pixel peep extensively like we're doing here in order to see the difference. But after I saw these results, I wanted to confirm the results, and I made another test here in my office. And this time I mounted a prime lens on both cameras. On the G9 I mounted the Panasonic Leica 25 f1.4, and on the S5 I mounted the Sigma 45 f2.8. Partly because this is the only prime I have for the S5, but also because these two lenses have almost exactly the same angle of view. And here are the results from my other test, and these are again straight out of camera JPEGs. And here I have side by side my other JPEG test that I did here in my office. And on the left is the G9 picture shot at f2.8, and on the right is the S5 picture shot at f5.6. And let's now zoom in again 100% and see if there is any difference between these two files. Again, they both look excellent, very sharp, lots of detail, but again I see some more detail and sharpness in the S5 picture. The difference is not huge, but it's there and it's visible when you really look at it. So the result is very similar to the first JPEG test. And as I said at the beginning, I also shot some RAW files, but with the RAW files I cheated a little bit. Lightroom still doesn't support the S5 RAW files, so I used the S1 instead, because it has the same sensor and the same processor. So it's safe to assume that also the high-res file is virtually identical to the S5. And the setup was also the same as with the JPEGs, same lens and same settings and the same scene. Let's see the RAW files and if the results are still similar and the difference between the two cameras the same. And here I have side by side the RAW files that I shot outside. And again on the left is the G9 picture shot at 25mm f4.5. On the right is the S1 picture shot at 46mm at f5.6. I'm gonna zoom in again 100% and see if there is any difference between these RAW files. Both cameras look awesome, but again I see a small advantage in the S1 file. It's slightly sharper and there's slightly more detail in there. But you could print both of these pictures really big and they would look awesome. And it would be hard to tell any difference unless you print really big. And especially the G9 looks impressive here. So to conclude this, I would say the S5 has a slight advantage here. The high-res files are slightly sharper and there's slightly more detail in them. However, I think both cameras did really well, and the high-res files have a lot of details, and to be able to see the difference between the two cameras, you would have to print huge or pixel peep extensively. And if you have my channel Zoom membership, link down below, you can download the JPEG files and check them out on your own computer. And if you have my channel Prime membership, you can also download the RAW files and check them out on your own computer. I just posted a community post here on my channel and the links are there. And here is my other high-res comparison between the Lumix G9 and the S1R. Please check it out if you haven't already seen it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.